Founded in 1729, Arlington Street continues today as a gathering place for progressive people of faith in the greater Boston area and beyond. We are located at the corner of Arlington and Boylston Streets, across from the Public Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.
As a nation, as individuals, and as a community of faith, we can all sometimes feel the pull of the past, a time, whether real or imagined, that we remember as somehow better than our present reality. While understandable, the siren song of nostalgia only distracts us from the task at hand, building a better present for ourselves and ensuring the chance of a better future for the people here in our lives and for those who will follow in the stewardship of our country and of our institutions. Not only does nostalgia rob us of the possibility of a future aligned with our values, it seduces us with the false promise that we can somehow return to the past, that all would be better if we could just go back. Lebanese-American poet and author Khalil Gibran so eloquently wrote of this in his poem, Fear. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled, from the peaks of the mountains, the long, winding road, crossing forests and villages. And in front of her, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. But there is no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to take the risk of entering the ocean because only then will fear disappear, because that's where the river will know it's not about disappearing into the ocean, but becoming the ocean. Metaphorically speaking, the ocean is our collective future as a nation, as individuals, and as a community of faith where we choose to believe that things can be better even when the present evidence does not seem to support that belief. And like the river in fear, we too are often afraid of disappearing into the unknown depths of the ocean, the uncharted waters of our future. But the path is always forward, never back. Only by moving with the currents as we approach the ocean, as we enter into the ocean, do we become one with the ocean? Do we become one with our future? Now, if as Khalil Gibran writes, it is fear that holds us back, then I think it must be love that propels us forward, that gives us courage. But what kind of love has this power? The power to help us honestly look at our past and accept it. The power to hold us in right relation with our present, and the power to guide us into our better futures. What kind of love has this power? I've been thinking about this quite a bit, actually. For a moment, though, let's put this question up on the shelf. The question of what kind of love has the power to help us accept our past, hold us in right relation, and guide us into our better futures. I promise we'll come back to it shortly. But first, let me share a little bit of my journey here at Arlington Street to give the question and my thoughts on the matter some context. 37 years ago, I walked through the great doors of this church for the first time. It was the summer of 1989. The nation, I, and this community of faith were all in a period of transition. Many of us, like the river in fear, were caught in the turbulence, just about to enter into the vast ocean, into our future. At the time, the nation was suffering through the worst of the AIDS crisis. That year, over 27,000 would die of the disease, then the second leading cause of death among men, ages 25 to 44. For those who were there, we remember the fear. We remember the heartbreak. The war on drugs, specifically crack cocaine, had recently been declared, leading to the over-policing of our urban neighborhoods, civil unrest, and the disproportionate incarceration of Black men. And as a result of the Reagan tax cuts and defense budgets, income inequality had widened significantly, and the national debt had tripled. Boston, here, our economy was entering into a brutal regional recession. We would see 67,000 job losses in the city of Boston alone. These were not easy times. Did they somehow feel familiar? When I walked through those great doors, I was angry. And now I come to realize years later, I was afraid. I had recently moved back to Boston from Washington, D.C. There, a housemate who was also in law school with me, was shot and killed in a gang-related turf battle. And Boston, too, was burning hot with violent crime. While standing one summer evening on Tremont Street in the South End after a griff party, that is, a grassroots gay rights fun party, those of us on the sidewalk were assaulted by a gang, screaming anti-gay epithets. Then they brutally attacked us with broken bottles. Some were seriously injured and taken to the hospital in ambulances. I was lucky. I only ended up as a witness in a federal hate crimes case. All were traumatized. At the time, I couldn't have told you exactly why I walked through these great doors or what I thought I was looking for. I was surprised myself. Me, walking back into a church? When I had graduated from high school, I left the Catholic Church and religion behind me. I was furious at the Catholic Church's response to the ongoing AIDS crisis. I was done with religion, or so I thought, but there I was in the back pew, wondering, confused. I definitely did not have the courage to be vulnerable in front of others, or really even to myself. Pressed for an answer as to why I was there, I suppose I would have said something like, I was seeking community, seeking a safe place, or maybe just seeking to understand what was happening. That summer of 1989, the services here at Arlington Street were lay-led, and the congregation was preparing to welcome its new minister, Reverend Kim. Like the river, the congregation was preparing to enter the ocean, to become the ocean. What a time it was. And here we are, again. Now, the older I get, the more I'm convinced that time is not strictly linear, moving nicely from point A to B to C. Rather, time seems to have a circular aspect to it. While the exact circumstances and details change, time sometimes has a way of looping back in upon itself, representing us with challenges we can revisit and learn from again, all the while continuing to carry us forward. like the river, flowing into the ocean, as we become the ocean, as we become our future. Maybe, just maybe, we're always just becoming. A lot has happened in the last 37 years, both in the larger world and here in this community of faith. A lot has changed. Ministers have come and gone. Members have come and gone, some into beloved memory. Committees have been formed and dissolved. We've celebrated victories together and supported each other through difficult times. I think it's time now to reach back up on that shelf and take a look again at our question. What kind of love has the power to help us honestly look at our past and accept it? The power to hold us in right relation with our present, and the power to guide us into our better futures. Let's go on a little journey towards the ocean, as it were. As a community of faith, we are called to believe that things can be better even when the evidence is scant. Let's take a look at a few lessons on love and transition that can help get us there. 1, be spacious. Reflecting on difficult times, American Buddhist nun Pema Chodron writes, "Things falling apart is a kind of testing and also a kind of healing. We think that the point is to pass the test or to overcome the problem, but the truth is that things don't really get solved. They come together and they fall apart. Then they come together again and they fall apart again." She writes, "It's just like that. The healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Room for grief, room for relief, room for misery, room for joy." The healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Be spacious. Breathe. 2, our love is covenantal. It's a promise. When I first heard the affirmation in covenant read aloud, I have to admit I thought to myself, these you-yous are all rather a bit woo-woo. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak our truths in love, and to help one another. Okay, I thought, sounds nice, but what really is a covenant? And then there was the way that Reverend Kim always ended her services. I love you. I love you. This really caught me off guard. I thought to myself, me? How can she love me? She doesn't even know me. And if she did, she certainly wouldn't love me. When I walked into this church, I was not a spiritually involved person. And I certainly don't think I was looking for love. But I did have these half-formed, half-baked thoughts that would have gone something like this. You see, there's this really nice minister, and well, I don't know why, but she keeps telling me she loves me, and I guess, well, maybe I should try and figure out why, and maybe I should try and figure out how to be a better person, so that I actually might deserve that love. I think I now have some more informed thoughts. According to our Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant is both a noun and a verb. It can be a written agreement among individual community members promising to behave in certain ways. And it can mean to engage in mutual promises with spirit, with other people and communities. The practice of promising to walk together is the precious core of our creedless faith. Our covenant here at Arlington Street, which begins with love is the spirit of this congregation and service is our gift, is not an invitation. It is a mutual promise to walk together in love on the journey. It's a promise to behave in certain ways. In a way, I've come to think that Reverend Kim was making us all a promissory note, as it were, when she said at the end of every service, "I love you." It was a promise to walk together with us, even if she did not know each of us personally. Our love is covenantal. It's a promise. 3, love is a conversation. Love really is the heart of the matter. Earlier, we heard the words of Thich Nhat Hanh on true love, and then Paul in 1 Corinthians. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It is not irritable or resentful. Most are familiar with the reading from Paul, either from weddings we have attended or movies about weddings. It's a perennial favorite. The funny thing is, though, that when Paul wrote this reflection on love, it had absolutely nothing to do with a wedding or any other type of celebration for that matter. In fact, Paul was giving the early community of Jesus followers in Corinth a really good talking to. You see, the community was fighting and arguing amongst itself, tearing itself apart. Some were speaking in tongues. Others were consorting with the temple prostitutes. Still others were eating meat sacrificed at Roman temples. Some said, "I follow Apollo. I follow Paul. I follow Cephas." Everyone had an opinion. Everyone believed they were right. And nobody seemed to be listening to anyone else. The answer to this division, to this dissension, Paul argued, was to call the community to love. Agape in Greek, or its verb form, agapazo. This type of love translates as to greet one another with affection, to welcome warmly or embrace. This is a love which is chosen, which is active and not merely felt. Paul called his followers to reach across their divides, to come together, and to love one another. This early Christian concept of love is also found at the center of our Unitarian Universalist values. In her book, Love at the Center, Unitarian Universalist Theologies, our association president, the Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt, writes, "The use of the single word love at the center of the other words of principle invites what to me is a radical shift in our understanding of beloved community. Recitation is no longer an option. The word unadorned invites conversation and actions that elicit its deepest meaning in community. It bears repeating. Recitation is no longer an option. The word unadorned invites conversation and actions. As a nation and as a community of faith, We are called to love across our differences and our opinions. What conversations are we having? How are we having them? What actions are we taking? How do we answer the call of love at the center of our Unitarian Universalist values? Love is a conversation. 4, repair harm. Our Unitarian Universalist covenant states, quote, "We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships," unquote. When harm has occurred in any community, whether it's in the national body politic or our own community of faith, the first step toward repair is, of course, to stop causing harm. When things get spicy, after we have taken a breath to make room, as Pema Chodron advises us, here are a few things we can do. First, pause. As Pema Chodron said, when things fall apart, the healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Breathe. The second is to remember that at any given time, everyone is really doing the best that they can. Even when the other sounds, as Paul said, like some noisy gong or clanging cymbal, as they may well sound to you right now, we can nevertheless choose to assume good intention. We can give each other the benefit of the doubt. Oh, yes, keep breathing, keep breathing. When things get spicy, the third thing we can do is to genuinely seek to understand how others experience what is happening, how they think, and how they see things. We can come from curiosity. Let's dig into this a little bit. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change, or at least they appear to. We've seen this or a similar image before. The philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein included it in his philosophical investigations as a means of describing two different ways of seeing. Seeing that versus seeing as. The core distinction he was drawing was when you look at a table, for example, you see that it is a table. But when you look at this assemblage of lines and curves, some see it as a duck and others see it as a rabbit. Now, if you see only a duck, you might argue it's a duck. But once you become aware of the duality, you might say, oh, now I can see it possibly as a rabbit. That shift from passive recognition to conscious interpretation is what Wittgenstein called aspect perception. The point here is that we can change the lens we look through to come to an understanding of how different people see, hear, or experience the same thing in different ways, depending on their context, their past experiences, and the assumptions that they bring to the table. Simply stating and restating, it's a duck, no, it's a rabbit, does not advance our understanding or lead to repair once harm has occurred, when things fall apart. Only when we engage each other in true conversation, first seeking to understand the other, can we move forward. What we learn from each other can change how we see the world, how we understand our past, how we move into right relation, and ultimately, how we ensure a future based on our values. Repair harm. My friends, when the going gets tough, the siren song of nostalgia calls out to us, seducing us with visions of our past, trying to convince us that we can somehow go back to better times. But just as the river cannot go back, neither can anyone else. Like the river, we need to take the risk of entering the vast ocean, of becoming the ocean, of becoming our future. While we cannot go back, it is true that time does seem to have a way of looping back on itself, of representing lessons from our past from which we can learn again as we become our future. Maybe we're always just becoming. And when things get spicy, love has the power to help us understand and accept our past, the power to help us move into right relation, and the power to help ensure a future aligned with our values. Things fall apart, then they come together, then they fall apart again. It's like that. The healing comes from letting all this happen. Be spacious. Breathe. Our love is covenantal. It is a promise to walk together. Our love is an ongoing conversation. Recitation is no longer an option. As Unitarian Universalists, we covenant that we will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. Give each other the benefit of the doubt. Remember, everyone is trying their best. Assume good intentions. Come from curiosity. First, seek to understand how the other experiences what is happening. Can we learn to change our perspective just enough to acknowledge it might also be a duck and not just a rabbit? May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. Our closing words this morning are by Kalidasa. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of your existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. Such is the salutation of the dawn. Love is the spirit of this congregation. May love hold us until we meet again. Let us keep this faith, beloveds, and pass it on. The service begins when the service ends. I love you. Amen.
Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. Your divine, my divine.
We are located at the corner of Arlington and Boylston Streets, across from the Public Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.